We all remember one of those early YouTube horror videos from the 2010s, and I know for me personally they've had a distinct impact on me as a lot of them are just so different. And in this series, I've been scouring through these older videos and then I try to give them a score out of 10 on whether or not they still hold up to this very day as actually being scary. But some quick rules before getting in, and also a major content warning. First, there will be discussion of some true events that may be in connection with these videos or in the videos themselves. If I see that is the case, I generally won't give it a score due to feeling particularly uncomfortable with the subject, as these are not things that should be reviewed due to their horrific nature. But because of that, warning for such content, as while I will not go into graphic details, the implications may still be there. However, this is volume 4 of the series, so if there's any older horror videos that you are looking for in particular, then chances are they are in one of those past volumes. Now let's get right into the video. Now here's a video that I've always found bizarre ever since I saw it. That of course being blankroomsoup.avi. This video was quite simple, as it's a guy eating soup at a table with his eyes blacked out in an all-white room that looks like an office of some kind, as he seems to be in pure agonizing terror. Behind him sits a guy in what looks to be a strange mascot costume who walks over to the man eating soup and then begins patting his back. The victim then appears to get more distressed, crying out, before another one of the mascots walks over doing the same as the other. And that is it. That is the entirety of the video, and while it may not seem like much, this video had a ton of theories surrounding it when it first came out. However, to this day, what is exactly going on here isn't fully known, as the video just doesn't give that much context. What I described is quite literally the entirety of the video, nothing else. Its runtime only being around a minute total. So is this a hostage video, or is this some weird avant-garde horror project? Well, we don't really know, and it's highly likely that we will truly never know what this video is about. However, we do have some hints, as they were able to find the costumes that the two men were wearing. The two costumes are called Ray Rays, and they are designed by Raymond S. Percy, who has directed a bunch of the episodes of The Simpsons, as well as a ton of voice acting and background characters in Disney films. And according to Raymond, the costumes were actually stolen from his trailer and have been missing ever since. So what could this video possibly be? Well, who really knows? I want to say that it is some sort of strange performance piece, and this is the most widely agreed upon theory, but no one really knows. Is this someone who was kidnapped by the person who stole the costume, or is this just an actor? I mean, it wouldn't be the most bizarre art piece that the platform has ever had, but something about the video is just somewhat off-putting in comparison to other short horror pieces, but there's just not enough here to go off of to figure out what is truly going on. But to be on the safe side, I'm going to meet somewhere in the middle and actually giving it a score to the possibility it could be something a bit more than just an art piece. But with what we know context-wise, I would assume it's most likely an art piece rather than some sort of snuff film, so I'd give it a 6 out of 10 in how effective it actually is. It's not necessarily in-your-face kind of scary, as there just isn't enough to go on here for it to be really in that category, as it's mostly implied, but it's definitely on the creepier side the more you think about it with time. It may not hit you incredibly hard upon first viewing, but the more you settle with it, the more it sticks in your mind of what could possibly be going on here. The video just gives enough for your mind to water, but not enough to give a definitive answer to what could possibly be going on here. For reference, I would put it in the similar level of unnerving to something like Hey Walter, where it just gives enough to make you think it's real, but it's most likely was just an art piece to mess with someone. However, it definitely succeeds in what it sets out to do and makes a unnerving experience. It gets even more unsettling the more context that you know surrounding it. This goes hand in hand with the next video, that of course being First off, before getting into the section, make sure if you haven't already to like and subscribe to the channel, as I upload every other Saturday at 4 p.m. Central covering anything horror related. If that sounds interesting to you, hit that button and go check out some of my older videos. I'm sure there's something out there for you to enjoy. Thank you, and let's get on with this video. So some background for people who may not know this as much, as while it was popular, it was never on the same level as, let's say, Blank Room Soup or username 666, but was instead a bit more underground. This video comes from a channel called Memory Hole, which actually is an archive of some of the weirdest tapes that were sent into America's Funniest Home Videos. In this archive, they found this bizarre video which looks to be a man covered in shaving cream with a magic 8-ball in his mouth. He stares silently at the camera, saying nothing, as the camera just lingers there, zooming in and out for about 35 seconds and then abruptly ending. That is all the video is, and it has got to be one of the most bizarre videos on early YouTube that was out there. It's just so strange, and the lack of any sort of context makes it even stranger as what possible reason could they have had for sending this video into AFE? Was it some sort of strange prank, or was this some sort of threat against the crew? Who possibly knows? And there's something just so off-putting in its concept, because just imagine with me for a second being the worker who accidentally discovered this tape. Like, you're going through tapes and tapes of people just like falling over or something stupid happening, and then you get to the weird ass guy covered in shaving cream death staring at you into the camera. Besides the tape itself, we have no other context of what this could possibly be, and that is what makes it so off-putting as a whole. I remember when watching it initially, it just seemed like some sort of weird Adult Swim type shit, as it's just that bizarre. It's beyond strange. However, unlike the last one, I don't think there's the possibility of this one having some sort of crime connection to it. I've heard theories of this being some sort of strange torture, but I don't think that is true, as well as some sort of snuff feeling to it. The context makes it seem like some sort of strange prank. Thus with this one, I can actually give it a score, and honestly I would give it a 5 out of 10 on how scary it could possibly be. It's not that bad, and personally it's just a bit strange. Like, don't get me wrong, this has got to be one of the weirdest videos you're ever gonna see. It's so bizarre, and it doesn't have any context at all. Like, you have nothing to work with here. It's just a dude just in shaving cream with what looks to be even more shaving cream faces on a mat behind him. It's just so weird and bizarre. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not exactly something that would keep me up all night, but instead it would just be a bit off-putting while in the process of actually watching it. However, I could see it sticking with you if you watched it in the proper condition, like if you were watching it home alone at night. Overall though, pretty off-putting, and gotta be one of the most bizarre videos you'll ever see on the entire platform. I'm honestly shocked that this was sent into America's Funniest Home Videos, because what the hell were they gonna do with this? This has gotta be some sort of really strange prank, and whoever did this has gotta have one of the weirdest senses of humor I've ever seen. Almost like the next one, which is of course Jesus. So before getting into this section, some background into the incident in the first place. In Chicago, WGN-TV was having its nightly 9 o'clock news segment, then suddenly at 9:14 an interruption appeared in the middle which appeared to show a person in a Max Headroom mask, moving up and down erratically as a metal panel moves around sporadically to mimic the original Max Headroom ads. After 30 seconds it was then shut off by engineers at the television station, but this wouldn't be the last interruption Chicago would experience that night. At 11:20 p.m. during Doctor Who, what would become known as the Max Headroom Incident would occur. In the video, the same masked man gives a garbled speech that means absolutely nothing, which essentially was just a bunch of phrases such as Coca-Cola's Catch the Wave, as well as humming the Clutch Cargo theme before cutting to him getting spanked. I'm not kidding, this is really what was shown, although I won't be showing it on screen here. It's truly one of the most bizarre things that I've ever seen, and I know I'm saying that a lot, but these are just been some really weird ones so far. So it's no wonder that this stuck more in the cultural zeitgeist in comparison to other television intrusions. And like a lot of other incidents that stick in people's minds like that, there really is nothing about what possibly happened here in the first place to explain it. We still don't entirely know what he was trying to say in the video itself, and then even more bizarrely, they were not able to find any info into who this could possibly be. All we know is what happened that night and how it was done, and that is it. We know that they used stronger microwave signals than the actual station in order to override the other signal, something that requires extreme expertise going against the theory of it possibly being some teenagers just pulling a prank. However, who this could possibly be is still a mystery, and what their intent truly was with the hijacking isn't known to this very day. And unlike the last two, we know 100% that the story actually happened, and that this is a real mystery still being investigated. So we need to ask, what do you guys think is really happening here? Is this some sort of mastermind trying to send their evil plan? Is it just some disgruntled workers? Or is it some strange group just trying to prank the citizens of Chicago? The only thing we know for certain is that these questions will never be answered. But do I personally find this video disturbing or creepy itself? Well, no, not really. I know for me personally, this just seems like some strange prank rather than something really sinister. Compared to the others we covered to this day, this one is just weird, and while it definitely is off-putting, it's nowhere near scary. The behaviors though are just so absurd that I really can't look past it. And if you were alone at night in Chicago, I can't even imagine how you would react to the news changing to this. So while it's not outwardly frightening like the other two that we covered today, I find myself thinking about this one just a bit more than the other two due to the context surrounding it. I think the fact that we know for a fact that something was nefarious here makes it stick with me a bit more compared to the other two, and this I would say it's definitely a 7 out of 10 on the creepiness scale. Overall, pretty off-putting, but I'm sure there will be worse in later entries. Speaking of, that is all for today, so what did you guys think? Did any of these videos come across as uniquely off-putting, or were they just all slightly off-putting? I tried to pick a wider range of videos for this entry, as I feel like there's just such a wide net of weird early YouTube stuff. I remember distinctly the shaving cream one from, I believe, the Scare Theater episode, and it stuck with me for quite a while as the imagery was just not something that I was used to. I tried to avoid the more explicitly true ones that are more difficult to get through, as I don't necessarily feel comfortable with them. Such as in the last episode when I had to skip over why you never became a dancer to the fact that the video was seemingly mocking an actual murder victim. Be careful with some of these older videos, as they usually have something else seemingly attached to them always, but if there are any in particular that you'd like me to check out in the next entry, let me know. I'm sure I'll continue this again at some point, and with that being said, this has been ABA Short Films, and I'll see you all soon.